February is all about love. What with Valentine's Day being placed smack dab in the middle of this month. So what better time to release a game that's all about infatuation and love and all the little things in between than the month that celebrates all that stuff? And that is exactly what Nippon Ichi Software did with their latest platformer game. What's up Dreamer Tribe, what's up world, I am Bianca and this is my review for The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. Right off the bat, you know that this is going to be an interesting game. It follows the story of, as NIS America's official website states it, two lonely hearts brought together through a mutual misunderstanding. You control a wolf in a princess disguise, and I don't mean a wolf dressed as a princess, but a wolf magically turned into a princess by a witch living in a perilous forest in exchange for her beautiful singing voice. Sounds familiar, eh? Now, why would a wolf want to turn into a princess in exchange for something that she values the most? Well, it's in order to guide a blind prince through a treacherous terrain in order for him to meet said witch, who is the only one capable of restoring his eyesight. Coincidentally, it's also the wolf turned princess's fault why he lost his eyesight in the first place. This adventure platformer, as I have mentioned in my introduction, was originally released solely on the PlayStation Vita on May 31st of 2018, before finally being localized and released just 2 days before Valentine's Day. Again, a perfect release date for a game such as this. It's now available for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 with an ESRB rating of Everyone 10+ or PEGI 16. With an abundance of adventure platformers, you would have thought we've seen all there is to see when it comes to this particular genre. That, however, is something that The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince schooled me about. That no, there is still something new the side-scroller adventure platformer could bring. In this Nippon Ichi Software game, we control the wolf who is in the guise of a princess. The thing is, we can get her to revert back into a wolf in order to ensure the safe passage of her beloved prince. So yeah, we're basically controlling a werewolf who had fallen in love with a human. And yes, this is a better love story than yeah, let's not start a fandom war, but you get the picture. Not only that, but the prince, being blind as he is, can't really traverse the forest or anywhere really by himself. In order to get anywhere or bring him anywhere, the princess would actually need to hold the prince's hand and guide him. Later on, however, the prince does manage to move without the literal hand-holding, but he still needs the instruction from the princess to do anything in the beginning of the game, be that carrying a block, ordering him to walk blindly forward, carrying a lantern, lighting a lantern, or simply dragging him with you to get him to safety. It's a pretty nifty concept, and it follows the game's narrative to a T. This game is not without puzzles either, and most, if not all, puzzles require the princess and the prince to work together, utilizing what it is that they are good at, or what they were designed to do. The puzzles aren't overly complex, though it does require a little bit of thinking and ingenuity to complete. There are also collectibles in the game in the form of flowers and petals that you can pick up. The flowers are especially important in the game since they give us more stories courtesy of the prince and the fairy tales he has heard or read. Interestingly, The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince also has a mechanic I have never seen in a side-scroller platformer adventure before. The choice to skip levels. This feature becomes available for use per level after 10 minutes have passed. The downside of skipping a level, you don't get to collect the petals and the flowers found in that particular level. Another thing to note about this game are its trophies, especially if you are a trophy hunter, as they have a challenging set of trophies for you to hunt. Some need you not to eliminate any enemies, others require you to complete the stage in the quickest time possible. There is also one that can only be obtained by getting the prince killed a certain amount of times. Talk about tough love. Apart from those features, the game also allows players to replay levels and scenes that they have watched easily and hassle-free. Now, I don't usually play platformer games as my patience sometimes wears a bit thin, especially on difficult ones where I end up dying more than I actually get to advance in the game. But the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince didn't make me feel like the game was difficult. Challenging at times, yes, but never aggressively and infuriatingly difficult. True, there are moments when I had to retry a couple of times in order to get the timing down perfectly or to get a feel or rhythm enough to the level to progress efficiently, but I never felt frustrated with the game. Funnily, most of the times I end up dying on a level was because I wasn't paying much attention to what needed to be done. I was so mesmerized by the game's art style that I often find myself simply looking at the princess and the prince interactions. Like when the princess drags the prince. They look adorable, distractingly so. Even the enemies were beautifully drawn and rendered, the environment more so. Playing the game makes you feel like you're witnessing a story through the pages of a hand-drawn storybook, which I believe is the look the game was going for. Speaking of storybooks, how the game's story is told is very well done as well. The narration is superb and is done in this calming Japanese voice that every time a cutscene occurs, I tend to forget that I'm playing a game and not just listening to someone tell a story. It was narrated in such a way that you can feel the emotion from the story. The translation is done with extreme care as well, which you can tell and you can sense throughout the game. Control-wise, the game is easy to pick up. Its simple yet effective approach allows players who aren't adept in platformer games, even beginners playing video games for the first time, feel welcomed and not at all threatened by a messy control scheme. Even how you direct the prince isn't done in some convoluted fashion. The music is something to love about the game as well. What mood is needed, what ambience and melody to accompany the scenes and the levels fit perfectly and is wonderful to listen to. Like I wanted to listen to it for as long as I could, which is one of the many reasons why I am regretful I wasn't able to get the limited edition of the game, which included the game's soundtrack. That would have been an amazing disc to listen to as I go about doing my work or writing. A playthrough's length, however, is not something set in stone in this game, as it depends on how skilled you are and how well you know the layout of each stages. If you're playing this for the first time, then it might take a while to beat. If you're playing it with the intention of getting all the trophies or after beating the game the first time around, then that length differs from that as well. Now, there are only two things I can complain about in regards to the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. One is how ridiculously fragile the prince can be at times. It only takes one hit for him to go down, and the game forces you back to the last checkpoint you visited. Sometimes, the princess suffers the same vulnerability, especially when she falls down from what you would assume would be a safe height for a video game character to fall from. Then again, this sort of adds realism to the whole dangerous forest thing. Granted, when in wolf form, you are pretty much indestructible, unless you fall victim to one of those endless pits found in the game. The second complaint I have comes in the form of the puzzle found in the stage called Pop and Fire Basket, where you have to make use of the wind, a block, and other various elements in order to trigger a switch. It was a very well thought out puzzle, yes, but at the same time it was a frustrating part of the game and one that had me face palming myself. It is also the first time I wondered why the wolf can't just carry the damn block and make my life a hell of a lot easier. Overall, however, this is a wonderful game that features not just an interesting, whimsical story, beautifully and artistically told, and a set of adorable and lovable characters, but of lessons as well, which is something Nippon Ichi Software is pretty good at peppering their games with, albeit sometimes with a subtlety of a brick being thrown at a glass window pane. It also has what I feel like is one of the most epic final boss battle in the history of platformer games. The music in that level alone is just fantastic, and the level design puts you on the edge of your seat and on your toes as you make use of both the princess and the prince. And the ending tugged at my heartstrings to the point where I felt misty-eyed when the final phrase of the game's narration was uttered. This game is surprisingly so emotional. If there is one adventure platformer game that I feel managed to attain a perfectly balanced, story-driven gameplay, then this one is it. And having said that, I suppose the answer to the question on whether I would highly recommend this game is answered. And with that said, I am giving Nippon Ichi Software's The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince a VM Studio seal of approval, accompanied by 2 thumbs up. I have never had so much fun in playing a platformer the way I had with this one. Never had a platformer also made me almost cry because of its ending. This is a game that will bring you to an unexpected roller coaster ride of emotions, and it doesn't even matter which version of the game you should get and play it from, just that you should go ahead and play it. And that about wraps up my review for this game. If you played the game, don't be afraid to share your experiences and thoughts about The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince on the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, you guys know the drill. Dream on, fly on. Bye bye now. What's up, Dreamer Tribe? What's up, world? I am Bianca, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content of this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button to let me know. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to be a part of the Dreamer Tribe, just hit on that subscribe button. We also have tons of different content here on my channel, so be sure to check those out. Until the next video, dream on, fly on.